Hi everybody and welcome to Paper Wishes Vlog. I'm Lene Gehrig and today I've got a collection of wonderful Lavinia stamps to show you. Debbie made some beautiful projects. She showed me how to do them and I'm going to show you. So the first one we're going to start off, oh look, let me back up. Let's see, let me tell you what these are. So this is a beautiful seahorse. This one is called, of course, Seahorse stamp. And then this one is Guinevere stamp. She's a beautiful mermaid. This one is Bubbles, and then this one is Sea Creatures. And let's get into it and show you what Debbie made using the Seahorse stamp with the Sea Creatures. So we're going to put these aside. Isn't this beautiful? She created a background using some beautiful Cosmic Shimmer shakers, all of those here. And she made this beautiful seahorse, and I'm going to start off by showing you how she did the seahorse, and then we'll get into the background. All right, so beautiful seahorse. First, she used the heat-resistant acetate from hot off the press. This is great stuff. If you haven't used that before, grab some. So first, she stamped that using the Wow embossing pad. This is wonderful clear embossing liquid. And then over that she put, this is aged bronze embossing enamel embossing powder. Okay, so once she stamped the image with the clear embossing fluid, then she went ahead and sprinkled this on and then tapped the excess off, heated that with her heat gun. Okay, and she didn't stop there. So once that was heated, then she went back over that, stamped it again. So this is where a stamping platform is really handy, okay, because you don't have to realign anything. Stamped it again with the embossing pad, and then she just used fine black embossing powder, and that's where she came up with this beautiful guy, okay? Then when we were talking about this, I was like, oh my gosh, did you go through and cut that whole little thing out? And she said, but that's why she used the acetate instead of paper, because she could just take her little scissors. And let me show you how quickly, because you can see all the details, but she's not going around getting each one of these little, I don't know, do seahorses have hairs, tendrils? What those are. But she just cut loosely around that, okay, to get that cut out. And then when she put this on here, it looks beautiful, and you can see all the detail of all the little tendrils without cutting each one out if it was on paper. Brilliant, right? So she went ahead and put that on there. She even added a little foam tape, and because this is really opaque there, you know, you can't see through that acetate because of all the different layers of embossing powder, just put some foam tape, stuck that right back there, okay? And then for these little guys, she just stamped those, and she used the Honey Pot water reactive dye ink on just white cardstock, that one and the Chinese red, and that created a little fish here. And for this one, oh gosh, I don't think she gave it to me. She used, it looks like 2 shades of green, which you will see on the supply list for this card if you check that out. Really, really cute. So let's get into the background here. So Debbie introduced me to this wonderful glass mat, okay, from Crafter's Companion. She swears by it. I think I might just steal it from her. So this is how she did her background. Let me grab some paper here. She just likes to use just white cardstock instead of watercolor paper. Watercolor paper is thicker and absorbs a lot, and she just preferred to use this right on her card front, actually, like this, and then it just took some time to dry it. So these are the 3 shades of this Cosmic Shimmer. This is the Denim Dash, the Teal Ocean, and the Lime Burst. Okay, so now I am going to spray this first with just water, misting tool and water, and then everybody has their own way of applying and the amounts they put on here. So I guarantee you mine is going to look different than Debbie's, and yours will look different than mine. But the point being is that we get something we like at the end. And it's really about the color combinations more than it is about that finished exact result. Ooh. Okay, putting all three of those colors on. Hers, I noticed, had lots of this teal ocean, so I'm going to go heavy on that. All right, and then we've got the lime. And I'm feeling like she didn't quite use as much of that. Now, a great way to do this is just to tap it like this. You get a small amount. If you want a heavier amount, just really shake it. All right, now, I do know Debbie likes to use lots of water. So lots of spraying. She wants that really soupy. You can see it's starting to blend. Wow, lots of water. Right? And you see how it's blending? See how close we got? Hey, pretty close. Hey, pretty good. And then you could take a cloth and blot that down, or you could just leave it like this and just let it dry. Okay? You could hit it with the heat gun and it would dry much more quickly. The soupiness of it would kind of, in fact, I think I heard her say that this morning, when it's soupy. So the soupiness of it would kind of get manipulated if you hit it with the hot air from the heat gun. So you could just leave it like this for a little while. And then Debbie used on the bottom edge of this a stamp set. Here it is. Here's my stamp set. This is Stamp a Garden. And she used the green ink, which I'm going to reference on the supply list. She used these wonderful long, wonderful stems to look like seaweed and stuff along the bottom, of course, once this all dried. Beautiful. I love this card. All right, so now we're just going to take this and move this aside. All right, let's go on to our next one. Here we go. This next card, find it, here it is. Here we go. This beautiful card uses our wonderful mermaid and the bubbles and also the sea creatures again. Okay, and we're going to utilize this glass craft mat again. I need to kind of clean up my area here. I've got so many toys to play with. All right, so what Debbie did with this one to create this beautiful background looks something like this. Okay, so this is what she taught me to do this morning when I said, okay, how did you put this together, Debbie? And once again, using this technique with lots of water, that soupy, colorful water. What she did was she used these Prism brush markers. This is Antique Dreams, and also just the yellow one out of the Rainbow Pastels. So let me show you how she did this to get this background. So I asked her, I'm like, did you have to use the glass mat for this? And she's like, no. And I literally stole this right off of her table before filming. You can just use a regular craft mat. You could use a piece of glass that you have at home. You could use your countertop for this too, because these are watercolors and they're not going to stain. But you do want something that is not going to be porous. You want something where that liquid is just going to stay right on top there. So this is what Debbie told me did. First, she started off with the yellow marker. This is called Banana. And she wanted to do, another great thing about this mat is it's got all of these sizes on it here. So it's got the grid, it's easy to clean, and I can tell right there the size of this, that's A5 cardstock. If you're ever kind of wondering, like, for the UK conversion, you know, in America we're doing inches, and in UK they're doing A5 sizes. And so this has got both of those on there, so you don't have to do the math or figure that out. So we're going to put this banana colored yellow watercolor pen right here. Okay, and now we're going to go to, so I've got these all written down, you guys. This is the cherry red. We went around that and kind of blending into that yellow. And then this one is Heather. It's a nice purple color. for that, she went down here, blending a little bit into that red. Don't worry if, you know, cross-contamination here for your purple pen, because it just, as you keep coloring, it just kind of cleans right out. This is pewter. This is a nice kind of gray blue color. Pewter? Yes, this is the pewter. It looks really blue on here. Also taking that into that heather purple color a little bit. All right, now this one is Sacramento, and it's a really cool blue color. So I'm going to go into the gray a little bit with that. And then we've got moss green. Now the thing about the moss green, we're going to go into that blue a little bit, blend that out, because we don't want to get the stripes. We want this to be kind of blended in between each color. So she went all the way down into here with this moss green color. It just really doesn't look like much color when I look at my camera monitor there. But now this one is the army green. For this, we're going to kind of go over here and then up here. Anyway, yeah, it doesn't look like it's very vibrant colors here, but then when the water hits it and you put that onto paper, you get this really great color. All right, so we've got everything on here. Now we're going to go ahead and mist. Lots of water. Soup, she said. You want soup. And they're already starting to blend there. That looks pretty soupy to me. And then for the paper, you can just use white cardstock. We found that using the lightweight essential cardstock from Hunky Dory is a really nice quality of cardstock. That's what I'm going to use. All right, so I'm going to put that right on there. You can also do this with watercolor paper. I did that on my version, and I liked how it turned out. This is the version on the watercolor paper. So it's just that, you know, you get all kinds of different looks depending on what kind of white cards you're going to get. Look at that. Wow, I'm pretty proud of myself. Okay, so now clean that up. Very easy to clean up. All right, and so once we got to this point, then Debbie said she just went ahead and cut that down to a small size for her card. This. And where is my paper cutter? Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to take this one that I already had. And I'm just going to trim this down so that it's a little smaller than our 6.5 by 5-inch card. And then she covered that with holographic paper. It's got this wonderful firework pattern on it, but all we're seeing is just that really sparkly blue. And then she took the edges of this paper that we're doing and she distressed it. She sanded it down a little bit. So I'm going to show you how she did that. All right, there we go. So that's what we're going to start with there. And then we just like to take either a little sanding block or just an emery board and just sand that edge. See that? Okay. And that created this really cool distressed edge around there. So then once we got to this part right here, as you can see, these two look different, okay? This one is a little bit lighter than this one. This one I just did an hour ago, and then I just dried it with a heat gun. So everybody's gonna get kind of a different thing each time. So after that part, then she went ahead and used this great stencil. And this is a lawn clippings stencil by Lawn Fawn. And she used that just along that bottom edge. Just like this. You put the stencil like this, and then she told me she used this dark green color. Put that right on the mat. Okay, and then we're gonna see, what I love about these pens is you can use them to paint with, and then you can also use them just straight out of the tube there. All right, so she kind of put that at an angle, and she said you just did a little bit of painting just like this. You could also sponge this on, being a stencil, okay, to get that great grass edge. She said too, she also used the blender brush on this. That. You could also use a dark, like a dark green ink too. Oh, that's the moss. Oh, here it is. That's the yellow. Where did I put my green pen? Anyway, moving on. All right, so once she did that part, then she did some more stamping with the leaves here. Okay, so just worked her way up with the stamping of the leaves. And then, of course, stamped the beautiful mermaid right here. And with that, she used just a black ink, and she wanted to use something that was that would not be affected by the watercolors if it was a little damp on that. So you want to make sure and check out the supply list for specifically what color ink. But then before she did any of this stamping with the bubbles, she went ahead and did some embossing here with these great little guys in the background. These are, what are these? Jellyfish. So she stamped her jellyfish with the embossing pad, and then went ahead and used this aquamarine wow embossing powder, and they're a great iridescent color on there. Said she did that first because then she stamped the bubbles just using the embossing pad, and she didn't want to do the these guys after that, because when you would sprinkle on the powder, they might stick to the embossing ink on the bubbles. So she did the jellyfish. Man, I can't remember those. The jellyfish first, and then did the bubbles just using the ink. And then she used these wonderful little products here. These are wonderful. They are Spectrum Noir Sparkle, and this color is sort of a beautiful pinky color. This is Rose Quartz, and this one is Moonstone, and she used that for the hair and for the body of the mermaid. Shake them up because they have this sediment in there, and they have this little ball that helps you just shake that up. When you just paint this right on body of the mermaid, off my brush, and then she did the same with the hair using the Rose Quartz. Just gorgeous. So I should mention, you guys, we have a great money saver on these stamp sets. Beautiful stamps to make these gorgeous sort of under the sea inspired cards. If you love mermaids, this is your set. So if you are watching us on our webisode page, on our vlog page, then you just want to look to the right side where you'll see the money saver. And if you're watching us on YouTube, just look below in the description box, and you will see the money saver link, as well as the link to paperwishes.com, where you can find lots more videos and goodies and fun things to play with. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.